Welcome to the GM Perspective. I'm Kasey Ramey and joined by members of the Rose Project, which is a nonprofit organization bringing awareness to mental health, mainly in teens, but all through about it. We're joined by...
Abe Schoenfield.
Abbie just put candy in her mouth.
Okay, Abbie Gula. Ava Rosenthal.
Ava Decker.
Bella Weed.
Well, welcome, guys. And we're going to just kind of talk about what it is. So explain to us what is the Rose Project and how it got started.
Yeah, so the Rose Project is a youth-led nonprofit organization. We are kind of more focused on giving a platform for advocacy for the students at GM and beyond. Right now we have over 45 members, so we're just kind of trying to give a space for a lot of people to discuss mental health as well as be involved in the community and kind of open the gates to mental health awareness. So that's kind of where we started, and we're hoping to kind of keep that going as well as have our advocacy outreach to other places as well. So, yeah. It started last year in June, and over that time period, most of it has been kind of just accruing members, and along with that, we've been focused on the kind of events that we can do and doing a lot of donating to different mental health sources. So that's kind of our goal right now, is to kind of keep on keeping on.
What made you start TRP?
I think for me, I just kind of felt like there wasn't really a place that people could go to specifically for mental health. I also think that on a more personal note, like my family was really into mental health for my upbringing, and made it kind of a point to talk about how important that was. And the more that I would talk to friends and other peers of mine, the more I kind of realized that that's not everyone's experience. And so having a place to talk about that kind of stuff is really important. And so that's kind of what made it happen.
The idea of mental health, and it is important. What is, I mean, we're still starting and looking at that. What is we're trying to do with breaking the stigma of mental health and bringing it more to people, more hear about it? Anyone who wants to answer that? Or how are we trying to make it more a topic of conversation?
I would say, like, I don't know, just making it more of a normal and daily thing to talk about mental health. And it's not just like a thing you can talk about with your friends, or it's not something that you need to hide within yourself, or it's just something that you can talk about just like what you ate for dinner type of thing. Like, that's kind of what our purpose is.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's important to, like, everybody says you're not alone, but it's really important to actually show that you're not alone. Everybody does struggle with it in their own way, whether they admit it or not, really. And it shouldn't be something that you kind of hold yourself down to, like held back by, I mean. And I think by having a space, it really starts to break that stigma.
Yeah, I think even if it's like we're doing bake sales or more lighthearted things that some people like, it's not super connected to mental health, just having something that's there, being like, we're raising awareness for this. Even if we're doing other things in the community, it all kind of ties back to like that feeling of we're here, we're trying to make this kind of statement. I have just a few questions for everyone in the circle. So Abe is one of our designers, and he does a lot of our posters and our logos and designs a lot of our t-shirt designs and everything. And for you, one of our big things is kind of getting our word out there, getting our name out there for things. And then kind of on that route, why do you think mental health would be, so important in today's society, and why did you kind of decide to join?
So I think as humans, we all kind of strive for connectedness, and another something that would connect us is mental health. I think everybody has struggles with that kind of stuff, and for people to know that there's something out there where they can talk, they can join and help spread the word about stuff like that, and kind of like get into a space where they feel comfortable talking to other people and connect through mental health, I think is really important. And so just making a difference and an impact.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
The mental health connection, and in our school, it's talked about often. And then we had brought up Ava brought up the Rose Project. We didn't, but Ava did to our administration, and they were all game on it and very interested and wanting to help. So that was a cool thing that I don't think every school. Well, I know every school doesn't have that opportunity to have such an administrative support in what every student does on a daily basis.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the administrative support and how it's been received by our teachers and our principals has been really uplifting. They've been really supportive of all that we're trying to do here and giving us as much a platform as we possibly can. So I think that's been a huge deal. I also think that throughout our executive board, there's been a lot of support too, which has been really important. So 3 of the people here are involved in Broadway Dinner, which is a huge feat, and having people to kind of look back on and have support through all of that has been really big. Obviously, we're all students. We all have kind of big workloads we're going through. It's junior year. So having a really supportive group that not only is advocating for mental health, but also really supports each other in their own and is able to take things on is really important and uplifting. So that's been cool too.
So there's the bringing awareness to it, and then what other events have we started or have done up to and planning forward for?
So I'm the event planner, and as of right now, we've only done bake sales, but our first event was at the Goodell Gardens movie, right? Is that called? And we hosted a bake sale. It went very, very well, and that was kind of like our first ever, event to get our name out there and to kind of just see how things would go for the rest of our group and year. We did another bake sale at the basketball game, which was very, very good. And yes, it's only bake sales that we've done so far, but even like Ava said in the beginning, the lightheartedness of it is just there's not a lot of pressure, and that's what I like about it. But also we intertwine other things. Like we had the kindness notes, I think, right, in the jar. And so people could write kind words, and then you'd get one of your own. And it was just kind of a good, we, add other things into it, but then we can also get our word out and make people happy in that case.
Whoever wants to elaborate on what the kindness jar idea is.
I think it really kind of shows that kindness in the student body really does exist, because we're able to write these notes and share them with our peers. And it's just a little pick-me-up.
Yeah,
It's
Bella,
more good words.
one of my favorite memories of TRB was when I gave the kindness jar to Bella and was like, you can write some, we're going to do this event. And I look over and she's drawing a cat on on all of her papers. I think that's been really successful, especially with little kids. So when they come to get their treats and everything, there's over 60 of these little kindness notes, and they just pick one out. And especially when they get a cat, they get very excited. But that's kind of one of our main initiatives, is all the little things that we can do. So
I think making things simple and easy is really important, because nobody wants to do things that are complicated. Well, sometimes you have to, but nobody wants to. Nobody's waking up saying, "I want to do really complicated stuff today." So if you want people to have a space, especially with mental health, where they can come to talk, just doing nice things to them is.
Yeah, I think our basketball game event was really important, because that was kind of the first thing we did, sort of school involvement, kind of, because although the Goodell Garden one was successful, this one was kind of, there's so many GM people coming to the basketball game, and it gives those kids these older kids, they're really taking initiative, and I think it does make such a big difference in the young generation, because they see how easy it is to be kind, or easy it is to, make those connections that are so important.
Really well said.
And I think that's a big thing that we talk about a lot. High schoolers, high schoolers can make a huge difference on a middle school and even elementary school on how they choose to act and what they choose to do, and whether it's we're in the middle school and we walk the hall correctly, whether we're seeing them appear and we do something correctly. And even with mental health, we can show that it's something that can be talked about, and then it can continue and be something that's brought up through ages.
Yeah, and as our vice, Ava, would you have any like advice or kind of words of affirmation, I guess, for people that want to get involved with TRP? You said they kind of are able to see our involvement in the school when we do school events. If they're inspired to somehow reach out, would there be something that you would advise them?
I think it's just so important to first ask questions to really get an idea of what the initiative is and who's involved and how you can participate, because I think social media is one of our biggest things right now to get the word out, because obviously it's the most fastest growing communication too. And just if you know someone that is involved, know how they are involved, and if you like, even just to attend the event to see what we have been doing for it too, to be like, oh wait, like I would so like to help do that. And I think it's just so interesting to see that there's really no pressure to be involved, but as in, I mean, like when you are involved, it's not like, oh, you have to do this. Oh, now that you're involved, this is your position. You can be a member, you could be a board member, you could help with social media, help with event planning, help with event execution. But I think it's just so important to really just take that first step and ask questions. And then I think it is important for us too to rope in those people, but to become involved, I think it's really important just to try it. Just try it.
It won't hurt.
For sure. I think the main thing that we've talked about this at little meetings and stuff too, is that when it comes to how are we going to continue, where do we see this, the older we get and the closer we get to that kind of senior graduation period, the more that it becomes relevant that the younger generation, the people coming in from 8th grade, even the sophomores and freshmen that we have in our group right now, how are we going to kind of inspire them to take those steps as well? And I think one of the main things is kind of connecting with our school community as much as possible, but also just doing things like this to let them know that, like, this is our group, this is kind of what we do, and we're here for you. And even those who are not involved, we are trying as much to do donations and kind of get traction in places that really need it. So yeah, that's kind of something that I think the more the people hear about it, the more that they'll be inclined to kind of do.
Yeah, and it's really important to not think of it as like this is just like a therapy session. We're really just trying to bring light to it, really. Yeah. Because although we are here for each other, it's also the fact that we're just trying to, like, you can still do these things while you're struggling, and you can help others while you are struggling, and there are ways to kind of help yourself before relying on others too.
Just trying to get the word out and kind of like, in my opinion, I think the purpose or like what we do or what we strive for is like actions being louder than words. Or speak louder than words.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of what you guys were talking about.
Yeah. I think it's a huge deal to kind of have something that's tangible that people can look to, because the more that things are said, you know, it's definitely more prevalent in society today, but it can always be something that you see kind of happening in front of you more clearly. And if anybody watching or listening is wanting to get involved, some great ways to do that are through our social media. We have a lot of outlets for you to do so there. And you can also just ask one of us directly. We're still at that kind of stage where it's like, whoever wants to be a member, you're more than welcome to. And I see that continuing for quite a while. So, yeah, thank you so much for listening, guys. And thank you for participating today. Yeah.
Make it a great week and spread kindness when you can.